We've got a telephone call from Freeport. Diane, what's your question tonight?
Yes. A question. My mom was from Canada. My dad is from here in the States, and they've both passed. And my question is, can I be a dual citizen?
Okay, well, that's a great question, Diane. So your mother, well, tell us again, was your mother from the United States or your father?
My mother was from Canada.
Your mother was from Canada. And where were you born, Diane?
I was born here in the States.
Okay, so the question is, we've got parents of different origins, Canada in this particular instance. Can she apply to be a dual citizen of both the United States and Canada?
You know, I would say yes. However, this is where I want to, Diane, and get into the nitty-gritty with you here. That you know, this is really more of a Canadian immigration law question. Of course, you know, in the U.S. Citizenship can be acquired through a number of different ways: naturalization, being born in the U.S. as you were, or having parents that are citizens and you happen to be born abroad. So, without knowing the finer, minute Canadian immigration point, I would imagine that yes, most countries do allow children of their citizens that happen to be born abroad to acquire some sort of citizenship. Now, in some cases, they may ask that you, how can I put it, forsake your U.S. citizenship. So depending on what the country is, I don't think that's the way it is in Canada, but that may be something to look into. Right.
So if you take a look at that, you know, do you have to renounce your citizenship in the state in order to become a citizen of another country, or like Diane is suggesting, can I have citizenship in two countries?
It's possible to have dual citizenship, right? It just depends on what the country is. Now, I know there was a recent law passed in Germany where they are now, I believe, allowing people to have dual citizenship of being a German citizen as well as a U.S. citizen, whereas before they would restrict your German citizenship if you became a citizen somewhere else. So it really depends on the two countries involved, right? But I would say Canada and U.S., you know, it's not uncommon for dual citizens. Yeah.
Now let's take this one step further because we're still waiting on another phone call here. If Diane were to apply to become a citizen of the state of Canada, or not state of Canada, excuse me, country of Canada, would she be subject to the rules and regulations of that particular country as well? So, for instance, you know, I think of taxes. I think of you know, different items that you do with citizenship that people don't always think of, but it could have some bearing on it.
Exactly. That is something to consider. Now, if you derive income and you're in Canada, possibly similar to how it is in the United States, you would have to pay some sort of tax. But usually if you're not deriving income from within that country, but you do have to, you know, there are going to be some restrictions, right? And Diane, in your case, if you're a U.S. citizen, you know, I would say speak to an immigration attorney and try to find out if you want to really become a dual citizen, right? It might be possible for you just to have an ESTA visa or with your U.S. passport just to go visit Canada and come back without any sort of issues, right?
Yeah, you want to take a look at the reason perhaps why you do that. So maybe sit down with somebody like Rick to start with. And Rick, I just happen to know somebody who is a specialist in Canadian immigration, and it's a non-lawyer, but she is a specialist. She lives here in Panama City, so you know, I'll put you two together, and you know, y'all can figure all of this out. So you see what might be best for Diana.